Coming to you from the Black Goat 39 studios, this is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 106. Now here's your host, the Guru of Sports. That's the sound of First Choice, and the cut is called It's Not Over. Oh yes it is, it's over. It's over for Mike Krzyzewski. Let me play this out a little bit. Oh, yes, it is. It's over. Hello, sports fans, and welcome. Welcome to episode 106 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. I am your host, the Guru of Sports. Hey, everybody. How's everything? Man, let me tell you. Right now, it is real early on a Sunday morning. I'm not even going to tell you how early it is because it's real early, believe me. Anyway, I just got a chance to watch both of the national semifinals games between Duke and North Carolina and Villanova and Kansas. And let me tell you what's going to happen on the podcast today. I'm going to basically have two halves. First half, I'm going to be talking about the NCAA because, it's been hijacked. And most of the time it's basically some NFL news has been popping up and all. I'm not even going to go into the story about Tom Brady and the Buccaneers and Bruce Arians, his retirement, Todd Bowles taking over. I'm not even going to talk about how the Indianapolis Colts keep piling on to Carson Wentz, even though that he's gone. I'm going to talk about what is the main thing in the month of April, which is actually the end of March Madness, the NCAA tournament. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the ladies tournament as well, because you got two powerhouses, two historic, women's college teams playing against one another later on tonight in the NCAA Women's Championship game, National Championship game. All right. The big story right now is North Carolina beat Duke tonight, so that ends Coach K's, Mike Krzyzewski's 42 years at Duke. Like I said, I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that let you guys know that it's April 3rd, and this is the first podcast of April. And you know what April brings? April brings a lot of good things. Like I said, we're going to, later on tonight, we're going to have a brand new champion in the women's game, because South Carolina did beat the defending national champion, Stanford Cardinal, and UConn had no problem with Louisville. So there's going to be a new national champion in the ladies' side, and tomorrow night, Monday night, we're going to see the North Carolina Tar Heels go up against the Kansas Jayhawks in the championship game, men's championship national title game. Okay, like I said, 2 national champions will be crowned this month. Baseball season will be starting on the 7th, and I'm going to try to see if I can get my friend and my high school alumnus, my high school buddy, Mr. Dave May Jr., former Major League player, see if he can come in next week maybe, and we can sit down and talk a little baseball. I know it's a little bit off because of all the stuff that's been going on, with the NFL hijacking everything, and NBA season winding down. The tournament has been going on. We had a whole lot of stuff going on. So, we also have the NBA, like I said, the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. USFL should be starting, I think, later on this month. Colin Kaepernick threw for some NFL scouts today at the University of Michigan's spring day or whatever. A whole lot of stuff. The NFL draft is coming up at the end of the month also. The Masters. The Masters is actually next weekend. So I'm definitely going to have to get some golf in here and let everybody know, who's, playing. Tiger Woods did play around last week. I think I mentioned this last week. But Tiger Woods did play around at Augusta. And, he had a cart. But I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. Jack Nicklaus said that he's not going to play anymore in the par 3. He's not going to play. That par 3 comes up on Wednesday. I'm going to try to, if I'm not traveling that much, I'm going to definitely try to see if I can, check that out. But, it's April now. April, and we got spring in the air, and, still, man, I ain't gonna lie, I was wearing long johns again this week because it was cold out there, And I look at it this way. I usually, when I get a chance, I usually throw on some shorts when I'm driving and all, and just, kind of relax a little bit. But it was a couple days, man, where it was just cold as I don't know what. So, I mean, hey, I was, and, the thing is that it was cold, like, right around, Long Island and down in Virginia and everything. But, it's still, still the weather's trying to break. And hopefully, we can all get back to, getting the shorts on, going out there, going to the park, and, we took the dogs out today, and we had a good time and everything. So, it's just a lot of stuff that's going on. And that's what happens when you get, springtime. Easter's coming up. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going on. Spring is in the air. And I'm glad that because, me, I like the hot weather. I really like spring and hot weather and, nice weather. I just can't deal with the cold. So, like I said, what's coming up on the podcast, the first half I'm going to be talking about, the NCAA tournament and everything. And I'm also going to run down the greatest coaches of all time in NCAA history. Now, I didn't get a chance to do the women's side, but I am going to mention a couple of women. First of all, you got to mention, if you start off, you got to mention Pat Summitt, the late Pat Summitt, one of the greatest women coaches of all time. Gino Arietta, he's probably has one of the best dynasties of all time in UConn. Dawn Staley, who he's facing against later on tonight, she's probably one of the greatest coaches of all time as well. Vivian Stringer from Rutgers, she's great too. Kim Mulkey, there's a lot, Brenda Fries from Maryland. There's a lot. Believe me, I know. I watch, like I said, I love the women's game. The women's game is really good. And, I've actually got a chance to see the first ever WNBA game out in Los Angeles between the LA Sparks and the New York Liberties. Rebecca Lobo, Hall of Famer. I saw her, and I saw Lisa Leslie, Hall of Famer as well. So, like I said, I am going to mention I am going to talk a little bit about the ladies. Excuse me. I can't say girls because they're not real. They're girls, but I usually use the ladies game as well. So, just want to mention that. Other than that, like I said, in the second half, we're going to be talking about the NBA. And I'm not going to hold you down with a whole lot of stuff today, but I wanted to make sure that I do talk some NBA because last night, my man Kevin-Durant and Brooklyn went down. But he's the first player in Nets history to hit for 50 points in 3 games in a season. So I got to give big props to my man Kevin Durant. I love Kevin Durant. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. And, like I said, I'm going to talk about the NBA. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of what I see and, playoffs and everything and situations and, the teams that are in it and the teams that are going home. And we all know that the Lakers are probably going to be going home. They're going to be playing in the NIT, not in the tournament. So, NIT, NCAA, all that. Anyway, all right, let me get started. And we'll talk about the game last night between Duke and North Carolina. That was one of... Now, I got to mention that this game was only a national semifinal game. I heard a lot about the greatest college basketball games of all time. You got to remember one thing, that this game was not a national title game between Duke and North Carolina. Now, they have met 257 other times in their history. I think it was 102 years or so. And this is the first time ever, the 258th meeting between these two teams. This is the first time that they ever faced each other in the NCAA tournament. Do you believe that? in the Final Four, and this was a great game. To tell you the truth, back and forth all the way. I mean, it was just one team would score, one team would come down and get the rebound and go back the other way. They would score. I like I said, it was like a fast-paced tennis match. And they look really, I mean, all these guys, they look good out there on the floor. In the first half, number 12, Johns for Duke, ended up with 4 fouls, and he had to sit for a little bit. Now you got to remember one thing about Duke and North Carolina. They only separated by 8 miles. So, this is the best feud, the biggest rivalry in college basketball. I mean, you can talk about, Ohio State, Michigan, and football. You can say UCLA, USC, USC, Notre Dame. But when it comes down to, college basketball, Duke and North Carolina are the biggest rivals in the sport. Maryland has some times with Duke. Maryland has some times with North Carolina. But if you have to say the biggest rivalry in college basketball is Duke, North Carolina. Like I said, that game was back and forth. Caleb Love, North Carolina's Caleb Love led that team with 28 points. And R.J. Davis had 18. Armando Bacot, he was on the boards, and he had ended up with a double-double. And I'll tell you one thing. North Carolina looked really, really good. I did bet on North Carolina, and I won. So, I'm pretty happy about that. I look at this national championship game as the same as, let's go back a couple years. Let's go back to Lake Placid, 1980, when U.S. had to play Russia. Now, you gotta remember, USA was the upstart rookie team. Had a great coach and all. They beat the Soviets, but that was not the championship game. This reminded me a little bit of that, because UNC and Duke, this game was big. It was more or less like the Russians and Americans in that hockey game. But guess what? They still have one more game to go. And like I said, right now, I'm going with North Carolina to win the whole thing now. Because I feel as though that if they can beat Duke twice, and basically come through as an 8th seed to beat a number 2 seed, they shouldn't have any problems with a number 1 seed. But like I said, I'm going to talk about Kansas and Villanova pretty soon, but these guys from North Carolina look really, really good. Now, Paulo Banchero had 20 and 10 for Duke in a losing cause, and he'll probably end up on the probably declaring for the NBA draft as well. And he's good. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Other than the situation that he had earlier in the season, I think that he's a good ball player. I watched him a couple times. I actually watched both of those Duke North Carolina games. The last game that North Carolina beat them at home for Coach K's final home game, and in this game here as well tonight in the Final Four. So, North Carolina has the ultimate scoreboard on Duke. They'll always say, no matter what, no matter where they go, no matter what alumnus from North Carolina can say to Duke is that, guess what? We retired your coach of 42 years. That's right. We put your guy to sleep. Or we put your guy to, made him retire. Coach K. What can you say about Coach K? 36 tournament appearances, 101 wins, 26 Sweet 16s, 17 Elite Eights, and 13 Final Fours. Like I said, when I'm gonna mention some of, I'm gonna run off a list of all the greatest coaches of all time, and I have my top 5, and I'm gonna go with my top 5, and you'll be surprised who I have on this list. And you might say, yeah, I remember that name. I might even give you a little brief rundown of what they did or so. Or maybe some of the players or, some of the things, that made these guys the cream of the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, as we can say it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pause right here. And like I said, we're only going to have 2 halves. I'm going to have Goody come in here and end the second half, or end the first half to go into the second half, because I know that he wants to be a part of it, of this podcast, even though that he doesn't really do any damn thing around here at all. So I'll be right back in a second. You guys take it easy. Hang with us. This is the Guru Talking Sports podcast, episode 106. I'll be back in right 1 second. Hang tight. Hey, we're back. This is the Guru Talking Sports podcast, episode 106. I do want to talk about Kansas and Villanova. I was rooting for Villanova. Not too far from the, I'm in the area, general area of Villanova. Right down the street, as you could say. I always say a figure of speech, right down the street. So Villanova never led in this game, and I kind of knew it was going to be a long uphill climb for them when it got to 5. When Kansas jumped out to a 5-0 lead, and then they jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and then they ended up jumping out to a 10-0 lead. At the 17-10 mark of the first half, they jumped out to that big lead. It looked like they were out of rhythm. Kansas played a really, really good trap game and forced Villanova into a lot of turnovers early. Man, I tell you, they was just like really looked like they were overmatched because of the injury to one of their other star players. Name slipping me right now at the moment, but they just didn't have the extra punch. And McCormick was outstanding. Big dude. And see, that's what they had did, because what they wanted to do was take advantage of the size difference that Villanova didn't have. McCormick ended up with 25 points. That was a season high for him for Kansas. And Achabaki, I know I'm going to mess up his name. You know how Guru is. Guru mess up names all the time. And I apologize. Abachi was 4 for 4 from 3 points land in the first half. And he was 6 of 8. Listen to this. 6 of 7 from 3 points. That's all he scored was 3-pointers. I mean, it was just something else. Christopher Braun. Now, he pronounces his name Brown, but it's actually spelled like Braun, Bruan. So I said, okay, Christopher Braun. he actually hit. He didn't even score in the first half, and he ended up with like 17 points, and mostly all of them was 3-pointers. And they just, oh man, Kansas just smothered Villanova. Villanova came into within 6 points at one point, and ended up that 6 point lead just evaporated, and it ended up to like a 10 point lead, and then next thing you know, basically they were just off and running. Now Kansas is going to their 10th championship game in their history. They're 25-0 this season when they hold teams under 70 points. Bust the facts on that. Now, that's pretty good. If you can hold a team, under 70 points. And I think this is the first time Villanova has been kind of stifled at 60. They only scored 65 points. Kansas beat them 81-65. Like I said, I didn't mention the score in the Duke North Carolina game. North Carolina beat them 81-77. So we got our final four teams. Now we're down to two. And like I mentioned before, I like North Carolina to upset Kansas. Hopefully that they can basically do the pull that upset, more or less. It really wouldn't be an upset, but then again, you got four blue bloods here. None of these teams are considered underdogs, and they're not here like the run that we've seen from St. Peter's. They're basically going to, two blue bloods are going to go at it. And I just really like, North Carolina's swag right now. And I really like North Carolina's the approach on how they did things. Because, Duke had a lot of big guys. And I think they're gonna match up well with Armando Baycott going up against McCormick. That's gonna be a good battle to see. Remy Martin didn't play that much, but he was he's had a couple points. That wasn't that much, but he didn't play that much for Kansas. But I'll tell you one thing. This one guy, Abachi, he was something else. I mean, he was like, it seemed like everything he was throwing up from 3-point land, it was going in. I mean, it was just really, really going in. He was really, really hot. Villanova even tried to double team him a couple times, and he still ended up, doing it. So it's going to be a good championship game between Kansas and UNC. And I do like Kansas. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I just said that. But I do like North Carolina to pull the upset. I do want to mention one other thing, too. Sometimes I might pause a little bit because I usually watch SportsCenter, or I usually watch a couple little different things while I'm sitting here talking to you. But, I don't want you to feel as though that I'm like not, my mind is going elsewhere or wherever. But like I said, I just basically, I'm a sports oriented person. So that's what I do. My mind's always thinking about sports. So, I try to, when I drive and everything, I'm on the road, I'm always listening to sports. I always think about sports most of the time. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that for you guys. So, all right. Well, like I said, Coach K is going into retirement, and I actually really think that Coach K is up there. He's in my top 5, definitely, of all time. Coach K, I remember when he first came in and he had the press conference, nobody could spell his name. And believe me, it's Krzywski. Krzyzewski. All right. How he pronounces it, I guess it's pronounced Krzyzewski. Okay. Again, Krzywzewski. I can spell his name. All right. But I wanted to tell you that I'm gonna miss Coach K because not I one of the greatest things I liked about Coach K is that he had not just great college players. He had also, when he was with USA Basketball, he made a really, really good impact, and he made a lot of, a lot of respect to, guys with like Kobe Bryant, played on the Olympic team with him, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, all these guys. They have a lot of respect for Coach K, and he was also in a 2K game a while back, so I wanted to make sure that I dropped that in. But it's the end of an era. John Schneider now is going to take over the Duke program, and I'm pretty sure that Banchero and a couple other guys are going to be going pro, or probably going to declare for the pro. So, it's going to be a little bit different for Duke basketball. And it's going to be different next year when they start the college season, and I don't see Coach K sitting on the sidelines. You got to give credit also to Hubert Davis. Hubert Davis, he's going to his first final championship game in his first year. Outstanding job by Coach Davis. So you got to give Coach Davis a lot of credit. And, Roy Williams, Dean Smith, all these guys, great coaches and all. But, man, 2-1 for Hubert Davis over the great Coach K. You got to give him big props on that. All right. It's time now for me to run down like I gave you the women. I gave you the coaches in the women's game. And I'm going to talk about the women's game in a second, right after I mention this. I want to make sure that I run down all these coaches are great. And like I mentioned before, this is one of the things that I really wanted to do, because some of these names you're going to hear, you're going to say, wow, I do remember him. Or I don't remember him. Some of my audience out there might be a little bit too young to remember some of these guys. Tell you the truth, I might be a little bit young to remember some of these guys. I don't remember some of these coaches when they coached, but I do remember most of these coaches when they coach. So I'm going to run down this list of greatest coaches of all time, greatest college NCAA coaches of all time. And I want you to take a listen for some of these guys. Okay. I'm going to start with Bo Ryan. Bo Ryan, Wisconsin. All right. Joe B. Hall, Kentucky. Jim Valvano, North Carolina State. Remember him? The late Jim Valvano. Digger Phelps. Judd Heathcote. Remember, he coached Magic Johnson in the 79 championship against Larry Bird. And he has a title. Raleigh Massimino. Remember, he coached Villanova over Georgetown. One of the greatest upsets of all time in NCAA tournament history. Nolan Richardson. Man, remember Nolan Richardson? He actually won a championship with Arkansas. Corliss Williamson, remember them? Okay. Tubby Smith, Kentucky, great coach. Gary Williams, Maryland. Bob Huggins, he coached Cincinnati and he coached West Virginia. Really good coach. Ray Meyer. Remember Mark Aguirre and DePaul. Great coach. At the time, I think when I first remember Ray Meyer, I think he was like the winningest coach of NCAA history. But he's been surpassed by a couple other guys that I'm going to mention later on. Fog Allen. Now, I don't remember Fog Allen, but he was like, I think like one of the first coaches of the University of Kansas. So I did research some of these guys, and I remember Guy Lewis. I remember some of these guys. Don Haskins. He coached the UTEP. They used to be University of Texas El Paso or something like that, or they were the first team to win the championship, and they beat Kentucky. They started all 5 African American players, and Don Haskins. I remember I can't remember the movie, but there was a movie made of this guy, and this was a really good movie. I can't remember the movie, but Don Haskins was the first coach to coach 5 African American players, and they beat Kentucky. Okay, Lefty Driesell, remember him? University of Maryland. He coached Len Bias, and his career got derailed because of the Len Bias scandal, and he went on to coach a little bit more. But I remember Lefty Driesell when I was growing up because I always wanted to play for him. Phil Woolpett, I don't remember him at all. Jim Calhoun, I remember him. He led UConn to a couple championships. Dave Odom. Phil Martelli. Now, I met Phil Martelli. Very nice guy at St. Joe's University. I met him right down the street from St. Joe's and talked to him for a little bit. Very nice guy. Very respectable guy as well. Terry Holland. I think he coached for Virginia. And I think that's when he had Ralph Sampson. I have to definitely look that up again. Pete Gillen. Providence coach. Skip Prosser, one of the greatest coaches on here. Bobby Cremins. Now, Bobby Cremins, he had Georgia Tech. I think he coached my man Kenny Anderson. He coached, I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think he coached Chris Paul as well. Rick Barnes, current coach now at Tennessee. Fran Dunphy, he was at Penn. He was at Temple. I got a chance to meet him at a basketball camp, and he was really nice guy as well. I really like Fran Dunphy. Most of the guys that I met, basketball coaches, were I met them at basically at a basketball camp years ago, and most of these guys are like from the Philadelphia area, and everybody say I'm a Philadelphia hater. I don't hate Philadelphia. I don't. Me and Philadelphia have a little thing together or whatever, but like I said, I was rooting for Villanova tonight. But like I said, basketball is really good in Philadelphia. Yeah, you got to remember, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Dallas. All these cities have really good basketball. Inner city guys and all. But like Philadelphia has probably the best coaches in America. I mean, I can't, stress that enough, because you got Temple, St. Joe's, Drexel, all of these schools in the Philadelphia area, Villanova, all these schools in the Philadelphia area. And it's really a good hotbed for great talent and great coaching as well. Okay, so I didn't mention Fran Dunphy. Okay. Jim Herrick. Now, Jim Herrick, I got a chance to meet him out in California at UCLA. Um, he was really, really, really nice guy. He was teasing me. He told me, he said, if I had any eligibility left because he needed me on the team. I was like, please, I can't even. You know what? The best basketball I've played is on 2K. So I can't play no basketball. I mean, I was okay, but I wasn't great, So, I didn't even make the basketball team at my high school. I was on the team, but I didn't make the team. So you can say that. All right, Ben Holland, Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher won the championship with Gary Grant in '89 with Michigan. All right, had to mention Michigan, right? All right, but yeah, Rick Majerus, the late Rick Majerus, used to be with Utah. Utah had a great program under him. Pete Carrill. Pete Carrill was the mad professor, they said, and they ended up beating UCLA right after they won the championship back in '96. Dale Brown, Gene Cady. Gene Cady was Purdue's coach, and I remember him. He was really good, really good coach. I remember when they beat Delaware in the NCAA tournament. Larry Brown, really good coach because he coached Kansas. He was actually a North Carolina graduate, so wanted to make sure I mention him. Roy Williams is on here. Roy Williams, he coached Kansas and he coached North Carolina. He went back to he was a Tar Heel as well. Tom Izzo, current coach at Michigan State. Al McGuire. Al McGuire won the championship in 1977 with Marquette. Really good coach. Denny Crum, Louisville. I think he had the Louisville team, and I think he coached. I'm not going to quote myself, but I think he coached UCLA as well. But 1980, he won the championship with Dr. Duncanstein, Darrell Griffith. Lute Olson, he won his first championship about 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. 30 years ago with Arizona. That was the first time Arizona have ever won a championship. Eddie Sutton, the late Eddie Sutton, he took a couple. I think he took 4 teams to the NCAA tournament in his career. Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino was, current coach of Iona, and he was at Kentucky. He was at Providence. Great coach. Dean Smith, the great Dean Smith, North Carolina. What can you say? Jim Boeheim. Boeheim, I like him. I love Syracuse basketball. Only title was 2003 with Carmelo Anthony. John Calipari, great coach. Won championship. Won it in 2012 with Anthony Davis. Lou Carnesecca. Remember Lou Carnesecca? He coached Chris Mullin, Bill Weddington, Walter Berry. He was. I actually got a chance to see him in a tournament, NCAA tournament regional or something like that, years ago when they were out in Long Beach, California. Jerry Tartanian. What can you say? Tark the Shark. Coached that great UNLV team. Larry Johnson, Stacey Ogman, my man Greg Anthony. They were great teams. The late John Chaney. He actually coached my man Terrence Stansberry. He coached Rick. A lot of great players. Mark Macon. Really great coach. The late John Chaney. Remember him. Jay Wright is on that list. Jay Wright, like I said, he has 2 championships. just lost the regional national semifinals just here tonight or last night. Adolph Rupp, don't remember him coaching, but he was Kentucky's coach, and I think he lost to Don Haskins in that historic game between I think it was UTEP and UTEP is the school now, but UTEP and Kentucky. Okay, my top 5 now of all time. These guys are my top 5 of all time. Tell you what, I'm going to take a break right here, and I'm going to go to break for a second, and I'll be back, and I'll give you my top 5. Hang tight. This is the Guru Talking Sports Podcast, episode 106. I'll be back in a couple of seconds. Welcome back to the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. This is episode 106, and I did say I was going to give you my top 5 coaches of all time. So, in the 5th position, I'm going to have to go with Herb Magee. Now, you might not know who Herb Magee is, but at the time, before Mike Krzyzewski broke, he had to break somebody's record, right? He actually broke Herb Magee's record because Herb Magee was at 1,044 wins and 450 losses. Herb Magee actually coached a team in Philadelphia called the Philadelphia Textile. And he was there from 1960 to 63. Is a player. He's won national championships in 1970. And Herb Magee is probably one of the nicest guys I ever met. I got a chance to meet Herb Magee and at that basketball camp. Like I said, that's why I said Philadelphia has the best coaches, college basketball coaches in America. One of the nicest guys, Hall of Famer, and really, really great guy. He's also known as the shot doctor. I heard that, mostly a lot of NBA players go to him to work on their shot. And he is basically a teacher of how to improve your shot and everything. But he's a really, really great, nice guy. And I wanted to mention him as my number 5. My number 4 is John Thompson Jr. John Thompson was one of the greatest coaches that ever lived because what he did was he just, he put a lot of guys to, he had a couple, let me see, how many Hall of Famers did he put in? Allen Iverson, Alonzo Mourning, who else? There's another guy I'm thinking about. Big, tall, 33, played for the Knicks. Oh, yeah, Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing as well. Always had a great program. I love Georgetown. Georgetown is one of my favorite college basketball teams of all time. Along with Syracuse. Yeah, I know they're both in the Big East. Like Villanova. I like a lot of college basketball teams. UCLA. You got, I'm a sports guy, so I'm supposed to like a lot of stuff. So, so John Thompson will be my number 4. My number 3 is probably the most, the rugged, very brass, very, very outspoken, very innovative coach of all time. No doubt, my man Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight, I can't even mention all the things that he probably did, or said, but I know that he was the only coach to coach an undefeated team to a championship in 1976 when he took the Indiana Hoosiers all the way, and that Isaiah Thomas team. And Bobby Knight, I really liked him because he coached Texas Tech, and his life. The guy was just, to me, it was kind of comical, but I really like Bobby Knight. I think he's probably, if I had a chance, to play for him, I would. No matter, I'm the type of person that I don't take a lot of things to heart, and I don't take a lot of things personal. But Bobby Knight would probably make you want to take things personal or so. But I like Bobby Knight, and I always thought that his intentions, were different. His approach and his preparation for things were different. But he got to remember too, he was at West Point, along with the other guy that I'm going to mention here in a second. But he was always hard nosed, and that's the way he was. And a lot of times, a lot of people can't take the hard nosed, uh, you know, outrageous type of treatment or so, if you could say that. Me, I'm a military guy. It doesn't bother me at all. But like I said, Bobby Knight was a military guy as well. So, got to give it up for Bobby Knight. He's my number 3. My number 2 has to go to Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, for what he did, and, the legacy that he's going to leave behind is very, very, it's outspoken. It's outspoken. You can't really debate between my number 2 and my number 1, only because my number 1 has more championships, and he has more championships, I think, than anyone. And I'm gonna go with number 1, the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden. John Wooden was the greatest coach of all time. I mean, championship years, you can't compare them. I like I said, Krzyzewski has more wins, but my man John Wooden has more titles. And he coached some of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Who else? You name it. Bill Walton. Great. I can't even think of all the guys that John Wooden coached. But like I said, he was a wizard. I mean, he was actually a teacher. He was a teacher, and he ended up a basketball coach. And he did play for the University of Indiana as well. So, John Wooden is the greatest coach of all time. There's no doubt. Like I said, Krzyzewski has a lot more wins, but he doesn't have the titles. And another thing, too, is that John Wooden went back to back or so. So, you got to give John Wooden the edge in this situation, because he was, like I said, the greatest college basketball coach of all times. So, I'm pulling up here on my Wikipedia page for John Wooden. And he ended up as a basketball coach. Actually, I'm sorry. He didn't play for Indiana. He played for Purdue. Like I said, I have to correct myself when I'm wrong. You was never wrong that much, but I did have to correct myself. But he was a guard for University of Purdue from 1929 to 1932. He started coaching. He coached basketball in Dayton High School, 33 to 35, 1933 to 1935. he actually coached baseball. I didn't know that. Coached baseball for 1948 for Indiana State. And remember, he was at Westwood from 1948 all the way up to 1975. And now listen to this. As a coach, 10 championships. 1964, 1965. Now listen to this. 1967 to 1973. 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, and 73. He didn't make it in 74, but he ended up coming back and winning it in 1975. That's why I say John Wooden is the greatest coach of all time. You can't deny this because he has 10 championships. Krzyzewski only has 5. So, all right, so we're done with the first half of this program, this podcast. And I wanted to say, spend all this time on the men, but I do want to mention that the women's title game is tonight, and the 50th anniversary of Title IX, which is very, very historic for the women's game. 40th anniversary of the first title game in the women's tournament. South Carolina features Alicia Boston, 29 double-doubles this year. And UConn has their star player, Paige Beckerts. UConn is 11-0 in title games. So this is going to be a very, very big title game for them later on tonight. And to tell you the truth, I like South Carolina because I think Dawn Staley and Miss Boston are going to, it's going to be close, It's going to be really close. So I really like South Carolina to win the championship. Okay, so we're done with the first half. And Goody, are you going to come in here and you're going to say something to me? Okay, we're officially done with the first half of the podcast. I'll be back in a few minutes with the second half. And also, I'm gonna throw in a poo-poo of the week, and you probably know what I'm gonna talk about is poo-poo of the week. You guys take it easy, hold tight. We'll be back with the second half in just a moment. All right, we're back for the second half of the podcast, and this is episode 106 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. Okay. Now, it's not going to be that long in the second half. I'm only going to talk a little bit about the NBA, and I'm basically going to talk. I got a poo-poo of the week that I'm going to have to get to, and we're going to be out of here. Okay. Now, like I was mentioning, the NBA is winding down now, and they're almost there. They're almost to playoff time. Now, the playoff tournament is going to be seeds 7 through 10. And right now, if you're looking at the East, Miami holds the best record in the East. They got 50 wins. Milwaukee is number 2. Boston's number 3. Philadelphia, Toronto, Chicago are 4, 5, and 6. Cleveland 7. Atlanta's 8. 9 and 10 will be the Charlotte Hornets and my Brooklyn Nets. And the rest, if I didn't mention them, they are eliminated. Hopefully, now, I do want to talk about this game, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant scored 55 points tonight. And, he was something else. But they ended up losing. And like I said, now they got to play, face probably Charlotte in the play-in game. Oh, man, that's going to be rough, man. But they still have the talent now that the COVID mandate is lifted in New York, Kyrie can play on the road and at home. So hopefully Brooklyn can do, something, and hopefully they can get their, act together and get right. I was watching highlights from this game. Freaking Kyrie was sitting on the bench eating a fruit cup, and then he forgot because Nash called him in. So I don't know. Kyrie is. I told you, Kyrie's something different. So hopefully the Nets will, make it in and probably get, that, eighth seed or so. But, I definitely want to see them go into the playoffs. And, that's in the East. The West, I ain't got really too much to say about the West, only that Phoenix, best team in the league, 62 wins. The Memphis Grizzlies, you got to give them credit and big props because they have done something they've never done in their history. They won their division for the first time in franchise history. And that is accomplishing something. But what's more weird and more, something to say something about is that these guys are 20-2 when they don't have Ja Morant. What? 20-2 when they don't have Ja Morant. And they look pretty good. I mean, they are really, really hot. Right now, I think they have like the longest winning streak in the NBA right now. I know they have it in the Western Conference. They won 7 straight. Matter of fact, they are the best team in the NBA right now with the longest winning streak. And they can't catch Phoenix, and they just blew by Golden State. Golden State holds that 3 position. Dallas holds the 4 position. Utah has the 5th. Denver the 6th. Now to play 7 through 10 is Minnesota, the Clippers, New Orleans, and San Antonio. I'm not even going to mention the Lakers. Lakers are done. 31 wins right now and 46 losses. And guess what? At one time, the Pelicans were the worst team in the league, or one of the worst teams in the conference. And guess what? They have not beaten the Pelicans all season. They're 0-3 against the Pelicans. This is sad. This is like one of the worst seasons I've seen. And, I mean, jeez. You can't really blame Kobe Bryant for the seasons that they had after they had won the championship in 2010. Those 6 lean seasons was because there was just nobody out there. No real good free agents to grab or so. But the Lakers this year, they just going to have to reboot. They're just going to have to rebuild. We don't know if LeBron James is going to come back. I mean, I know a couple of days ago he made the April Fool's joke and said, hey, I'm out for the rest of the season. It was April Fool's, whatever. But you know what? This roster wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. This reminds me of the Karl Malone, Gary Payton, and, grabbing all the old stars. I mean, if they would have grabbed these stars when they were... If this was 2012, yeah, I could see them having a great team with who they got now. Russell Westbrook, Street Clothes Davis, all these guys. I would say this would be a great... And, Carmelo, ball hawking Carmelo. Yeah, it's just, I can't understand this. Why in the hell did they get this? How did they make up this team? Oh, yeah, that's right. LeBron wanted them. The GM is actually LeBron's. I mean, I don't know. This has been a mess. This has been a mess. And it's just been hard to watch. It's like when they come on, I get a notification that the Lakers are on. And I'm like, you know what? I can't even watch the thing. I can't watch it at all. They are that bad. I just can't. It seems like, I don't know. It seems like they're creating new ways to lose games. I just have never seen a team so dysfunctional and so out of rhythm. And just, the other day, Russell Westbrook was, was asked a legitimate question by a reporter, and he was like, he said something about how you guys going to get better. Russell said, winning, winning. He said, yeah. He said, why you ask me that question? He said, well, hey, I'm the reporter. I'm supposed to ask you that question or something. I don't know, something to that effect. But, it's just really dysfunctional. And I just knew this wasn't going to work. And I was like, you know what? I don't know. Russell Westbrook needs to be on a team where he can just hawk the ball all the time. And, I don't know. They couldn't even dump him at the trade deadline. This is bad. This is really bad. So what they're going to do is probably end up gutting this team. And then they're going to probably sign a lot of guys for the veteran minimum. And, get something built around them. I mean, now can you trust Anthony Davis to be healthy for a whole year? Probably not. I mean, no, I don't know. This has been an atrocious mess. This has been the worst dumpster fire sideshow in the history of this franchise. The only good thing about the Lakers is that I'm watching this thing on ESPN called, on HBO called Winning Time. That's more interesting and more entertaining than the actual Lakers playing basketball right about now. I'm critical. I'm very critical of my teams. And like I said, Guru will call you out if you're bad. And the Lakers are bad. They're terrible. So, hey, I got to call them out. I got to call it like I see it. All right. I'm going to go to the poo-poo of the week. Poo-poo of the week this week, it's got to be Will Smith. This is my final thoughts and words and everything. So, I don't know how it got to this point or whatever. But, I look at it this way. You can't do what Will Smith did. You cannot do it. You can't. But I got to look at it this way. I don't know if these two have history. I don't know these two at all. But my opinion on the whole thing is this. You can't go up and just smack a person in a public place, at an award show. You can't do anything like that, And, everybody was asking me, where was the security? Why wasn't, he arrested? Why they didn't take away his Oscar? I don't know. I don't have no answers for this. The only thing I can say about this whole situation is that, one, it was wrong. And two, he should have made the public apology when he was doing his acceptance speech for his Oscar. I don't think the Academy is going to take away his Oscar. But he did resign from the Academy of Motion Pictures a couple days ago. And he did end up putting out a public apology to Chris Rock. But Chris Rock is, gaining momentum in this whole situation. His ticket price is up for when he goes up to Boston. And I think I know where this place is that he's going to up in Boston. His ticket prices have jumped up. They're up to like maybe $450 or so a seat. And that's for a comedy show. And he's going to probably talk about the situation. But it's wrong. It's wrong. And, I understand protecting your family. I'll do anything I can to protect my family. I know you probably would too if you're out there. But you can't go up there and hit the man. It's a public award show. And basically a lot of people was asking when I heard about it, they was like, "Hey, is this real or is this a joke or whatever?" I knew when I heard about it. It's weird because I heard about it when I was waking up on Sunday or early Monday morning. I think I had woke. I was awake around maybe 12:30 or something like that, and I was leaving the house, and I just heard about it when I got in the car and was on my way to work, and I was like, wait a minute, this is you know I was like, you know what? When I first heard it, I said, this is real. This is real. It had to be a real situation because why would you? I mean, and then all the news, every single news outlet in the world had it on, and you just looked at it, and a lot of people were like, "Oh no, this was fake. This has to be fake." Why was Chris Rock smiling? Why was Will Smith smiling? I don't know, but this situation is bad. I mean, it shouldn't have been, and I can't. I look at it this way. You don't talk about your family. You don't talk about anybody's family. I know a lot of people say Chris Rock is a comedian. That's what he's supposed to do. But you know what? You cannot hit the man in public. Chris Rock didn't press charges, which is, I guess he wanted to take the higher road or so, if you can take the higher road in this situation. It's wrong for both of them. Something, like I said, you can't make jokes. I wouldn't make a joke about somebody's family, kids or family in general. But the thing about it is that you got to remember one thing. You cannot hit the man in public. You cannot hit the man in public. One of the things I think should have happened was that, okay, yeah, he made a joke or whatever, or he could have confronted him and said, hey, look, man, I don't know, I don't know what kind of history they had between them, but say, hey, look, man, you know what, please don't do that joke, because, my wife is, suffering from this disease, alopecia, or whatever. I ain't never heard of this disease until, a couple days ago, But the thing about it is that, you shouldn't go up and hit the man in public. It's disrespectful and it's just downright wrong. Jeez. It's just really, really hard to talk about, really, in my opinion. It's hard to talk about because it's a line that you cannot cross. You can't cross certain lines in this world, And I was mentioning this to a couple people there's a couple words that you cannot say, and I will never say that on this podcast. One of them is the C word, which is something about a woman, and the N word, which is something about, a race. You can't do that. You can't say those things. You can't do those things. And you cannot go up and punch a man in public. It's disrespectful. Very disrespectful. I still can't get over this, and I still can't figure it out. And, I guess it's not for me to figure out, because like I said, I'm only a sports guy that talks sports, and I don't judge anybody for what they do. I don't judge anybody because that's not my place to judge. But I know wrong is wrong. That's just like if your mom tells you not to go in the refrigerator and eat her food, don't go in the refrigerator and eat your food, It's just, you can't be disrespectful. You can't be disrespectful, and you got to remember, Chris Rock has a livelihood, and Will Smith has a livelihood. But I heard a lot of people say that, hey, look, I lost a lot of respect for Will Smith. I understand that, but my opinion is this, he should have took the higher road and said, hey, look, man, don't, and then he cursed in public and everything. Yeah, he was upset. I understand that. But there was a certain way that you have to go about it. All right. So I'm going to end this with, on that note. And like I said, I know it's been a crazy week. Boy, it was a week where I couldn't even figure out. I couldn't figure this thing out. It's like, hey, I know I probably had a comment on this or so, but it's not my place to judge anybody. But the thing about it is that you got to remember one thing. You can basically hold your anger, and everybody gets angry, and everybody has a breaking point. And I think what it was that maybe Will Smith had a breaking point, but to the point, his breaking point shouldn't have been going up and smacking the guy in the face. And then a lot of people were saying, was it a smack? Why not a punch? You don't know. We'll never know why he did what he did. It's wrong. I don't agree with it. But you got to remember one thing, too. You can't be talking about people's family. I mean, yeah, I know he's a comedian, but once again, can't talk about people's family. So I'm going to end it on that note and not say anything else. I want to mention to you guys that, you can find me on social media. I'm at the Guru Show, Sports Show on YouTube. Guru's Daily Shorts on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at the Guru's Talking Sports on _podcast on Instagram. Gmail me at gurusdailyshorts@gmail.com. I'm on Twitter at Goat39, Mac and Bear. That's my nickname on Twitter. And call the Guru, 302-468-7239, 302-468-7239. I didn't give out the number earlier. I want to make sure that I do. Spreaker is the main vessel that we come off of. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. And just remember the Grammys is tomorrow. I thought about that. I forgot to mention the Grammys because, I wanted to see the Grammys, but I'm probably going to have to be asleep for that. But I just wanted to make sure that mention that Grammy shout. And anyway, big props to Mary Mack, the Mary Mack Show on Grief. I thank you. I want to say publicly that Miss Mary Mack is one of the greatest people I know. And I really, really respect her. And I thank you, Mary Mack, for helping me out and helping out my family. And thank you for responding to, what we talked about. And I really appreciate that. I really, really do. God bless you. And God bless your family as well. Jeff Duarte, Cali Sports News. Want to mention you, and I'm going to try to get you on as soon as possible. I know you're pretty busy, and I know that, everything has been probably hectic with the hockey, and I definitely want to talk some hockey. I definitely got to. I mentioned to my friend Jody, she knows hockey as well. I'm trying to get her on because she is a good voice in hockey, and she loves she loves my LA Kings, our LA Kings as well. And plus, Jody's a really good person. I wanted to mention her because I wanted to tease her about her Dallas Cowboys and all the stuff that's going on with them as well. She loves the Dallas Cowboys as well. Shout out to my cousin Curtis and his grandson. The Young GM podcast is, one of the great podcasts that I promote as well, as well as the Mary Mac Show on Grief. I mentioned that, and like I said, mention Miss Mary Mac Grief Authority. Check out our website. Check out our website. It's really, really good as well. Shout out to my big props to my hip hop brothers. Give them a shout out. My baseball insider, Mr. Dave May Jr. I'm gonna try to get him on next week, so we're gonna talk a little bit about baseball. All the stuff that's going on in baseball. I didn't mention any baseball today, but I wanted to make sure that baseball or hockey. I want to make sure that I'm ready to get some more information on that as well. My crew, Kaden Guru, executive producer and board op, just spoke to him a couple minutes ago, and Kaden Guru is doing good. He's a good, healthy kid, good head on his shoulders, and I really appreciate you, love you. Ray Guru is my technical advisor and musical engineer. Spoke to him yesterday. Appreciate you. Dante Guru, spoke to him the other day. My backup co-host, show advisor. And Cousin Aaron will be back in a couple weeks. We will be talking NFL draft, and we're going to check on Cousin Aaron. Hopefully he's doing okay, and we really appreciate him and the contributions and work that he does for us as well. Our motto is saying this has been a Black Goat production for Black Goat Entertainment. Copyright 2022, all rights reserved. We don't hate, we congratulate, we always create, and we don't steal from anybody, and we always give credit. I gave credit to the group First Choice for the song that we played earlier, and it's not over, but yeah, it is over for Coach K. Use the hashtag Guru Talking Sports and Big Props. Really appreciate you. And thank you for, just hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. I do want to get some shout outs this week, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance last week. But I want to make sure that I had a chance to go by some old stomping grounds, and you can hear the paper in the background. I'm trying to flip pages here. I did get a chance to go to my old stomping ground, the EE, and I want to say shout out to Jamie Karina, Bob, both Bobs, Daryl. Daryl doesn't work there, but I tease him all the time because they need Daryl back there. I know he's going to kill me when he hears this. But anyway, my man Tyler, I really appreciate everybody that I got a chance to speak with. And, one of the greatest things is that this place was a really good place for me. And I really enjoy the people, good camaraderie. I have good camaraderie with my people that I work with now. My man Adam Pippin, my man. He is one of the coolest guys, and I really, really enjoy talking to him because, he really helps me out. And, we were talking about, trucks and bikes and everything. I'm still thinking about getting a motorcycle, but I know a lot of people won't say, hey, you shouldn't be getting a motorcycle. But Adam, he's going to probably end up talking me into it anyway. But no, I'm just teasing. Adam's a good dude. I really appreciate him, and thank you for all your help. My man Malcolm, he's something else. He's a good guy too. He's a vet. I gotta give shout outs to vets. I gotta give a shout out to all vets. I'll start giving shout outs to all my veterans. past and present as well. My man Teron, appreciate you. Thank you for all your help, and he helps me from getting out of getting off to Long Island. So I appreciate you. Facebook, like I said, I mentioned Jody. Appreciate you. My man Jeff. Appreciate you, Jeff Duarte. I'll give you a second shout out. Charlie Rogers, Chris Kerwin, Kate. Thank you, Kate. Really, really appreciate everything that you do. Denise Hyde, Jeff Brown, Keith Stewart, my man Rocco, Big Al from New Jersey, and his son Kareem. My people on Twitter, I got to give a shout out to my homegirl, Bella B, Jeff in Southland, Rick in Buffalo, Mel, Dan, Mike, Lori, Adriana, Rob, Senor Pantley, Cigar City Capo, Justin, Coach, and last but not least, I got to give a shout out to my man, Dave Shepard, ESPN writer, WFAN co-host, and CBS Sports Radio co-host. And shout out to my D-Alien brothers and sisters. I can't forget you guys. Shout out to the DA show. I thank you for your shouts this week. And, I came in third in the in the NIT pool, and I appreciate that. It was funny because I was driving on Friday and I heard they mentioned me on the radio, and it's an honor. It's an honor and a pleasure to be honored or just mentioned. I really appreciate when I'm mentioned on their show. They're like family. I really respect them, and I like them as my family. Anyway, I got to get out of here, but I want to tell you guys, this has been a really, really good episode. I hate to see Coach K go, but when losing is just a part of life. We all lose once in a while, but like I said, Duke will be all right. Duke is going to be okay. You guys, I just really, really appreciate you guys stopping by here, listening to this podcast, giving me a platform and giving me an opportunity to just speak to you. And I'll tell you some of the, crazy things. I do want to mention one little thing before I split. What do you call a cow on the floor? Ground beef. I know, it's stupid. But Giannis used that the other day, and I thought I'd mention that because Giannis did use that joke, and it was kind of funny. I thought it was funny. Kind of silly, but funny. But anyway, a duck walks into a bar and said, "Give me a drink." And he said, where you want to drink it? He said, "Well, I don't know. Just put it on my bill." All right, I know that was corny too. All right, anyway, I got to get out of here. You guys take care. Have a great week. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your sports weekend. The Guru will see you back here next week for episode 107. You guys take care of yourself. The Guru will talk to you real soon. Take care, everybody. Be safe. And we'll see. Well, next week we'll have a new champion in the men's and the women's game. So I'll be looking forward to that. You guys take care. Talk to you later. Later.